All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fourth Bag. Dean, it's been about 3 months since our hiatus in November. I've been kind of off the grid myself. It was week 9 of the NFL season was the last time we talked. It's great to see your face again. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, you too, Chris.
What do you got there? I got another fresh case of Corona from Costco.
Nice. I got a hurry hard amber lager.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So I don't know where you want to start, Dean. I guess back when we were talking in the fall, I know we went through the pro qualifier trying to get pro spots in the ACL. Connor Weiss took that tournament down. And then I guess you could do like PDC applications, and you submitted an application for that, right?
There were pro applications, and there were also international pro applications. I submitted a pro application, and that's the one I talked about as being declined. But the day after we filmed that episode, I was offered an international pro spot.
And that's similar to what some of the guys had done before, right? You had done that the year prior.
That's exactly what we had done. As an international pro, you are in the PDC division, and I chose to decline that. I just felt like it was just kind of too much money for something I had done last year, and there were experiences last year that weren't the best with it. I mean, there was Atlantic City, the 3.5 hour wait in Chicago, and it was just so much money. And this year it's $250 US per event, whereas last year as an international pro we got it paid for. So
you really need some sponsors or some financial backing to do it, or you're paying out of pocket at least 1,000 American, right?
Oh yeah, you're paying 1,000 American just to enter these tournaments, and then you have to pay to travel. So yeah, right. I just felt like not this year. I'd rather just experience some other things for this year, and then see what happens after that.
Now, who did get PDC spots this year? Do you know offhand? I know Chris Tremblay. I think he has one. Anybody else?
Jamie Cowan.
Yep.
Tracy DeCoste, Alicia McLean, Dion Kuza, and Albert Parsons. They got theirs through the opens.
Yep.
And I believe that when I declined, they offered Steve Pohl that spot.
Okay, did Steve take that one? He
did, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So we've got a nice little contingent of Canadians, some fresh people, some similar faces, but a good mix. And then from the pro perspective, what Brandon Brown and Connor Weiss both got pro spots, like full pro spots?
Yes.
And how have their seasons been doing? Have you been keeping tabs on them?
The pro season doesn't start till April the 7th or so. It's the first weekend April in Corpus Christi. And then I believe there'll be 4 nationals in the span of basically 3 months, and then the World Championships at the beginning of August. Cool. So we'll see how they do. I think, if Brandon Brown can play the way he played on Thursday before he got too wasted, he was going to do pretty well.
Now, did we forget Bernie Portalesi? Is he a PDC as well?
We did. Yes, we did. We did forget him. He is PDC.
Yeah, I remember.
Thank you for that.
The number of times I've seen Bernie posting saying him and Brandon Brown are winning a tournament. They've been traveling across Ontario, just tearing up the local regionals here. And then it seems like they're 1 versus 2 in the final for singles. The two of them have been lighting it up for sure.
Yeah, they're really.
They're a good team, and you played with both of them, right? You played with Brandon. You played with both Brandon and Bernie, right?
Yep, Bernie and I actually won the blind draw at the conference, which completed the Dean Slam, if you will, a conference win in each of the 5 tournament styles that I'm eligible to play in at a conference.
The Dean Slam, I like that. That's fun.
And I mean, you got your singles, your doubles, your mixed doubles, your crew cup, and your blind draw. I, of course, can't play women's, seniors, or juniors.
Right. You're not going to double dip Cheyenne Reiner style, that's for sure.
Not in women's singles, I'm not.
Nice. And do those Gore kids get to play junior, or they only get to play the, you know what I mean? Like when they're playing, or no?
Well, what would stop them from playing junior? I mean, I don't know what the rules are. I mean, I don't know how often junior singles is offered there, but I don't see why they couldn't play it if it was I mean, unless they have actual rules that pros can't play these junior tournaments, I don't
Yeah.
know, but barring that, of course they could. They're of age.
No, I missed conference, but were there like did you get a chance to see how the juniors were playing at conferences, that first conference event?
Well, Gage McMillan he's the stud of the junior division. That kid is for real. We've had two good battles in singles events recently, and yeah, he's the real deal. Um, so he tore up juniors, and yeah, he's a solid contender in overall in open divisions.
Cool. So let's so that's PDC and that's the pros. Now the next thing I want to talk about was the SOCS Cup. Now my SOCS team, Waterloo Wolfpack, unfortunately we couldn't compete in the at Niagara. We didn't have enough of a team. But we did get to play in Aurelia a while back, and I had a great time with SOCS. How did the SOCS Cup go? You were there for that.
That's right. We played that the Sunday of conference weekend, and um, it was a mix. There was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun actually playing the match and um playing the tournament out and having the camaraderie with the team. But one of my teammates kind of got annoying to me. Because like I had said to him, lay off the sauce, like as kind of tongue in cheek, but um, but I meant like just be responsible, like don't drink excessively, moderation, right? And that
Yeah.
we had that conversation sort of like at 9:30 a.m. that morning, right
Yeah.
right as it started, and I was like, I laid down the rules and like, okay, you can have 3 beers by noon, and that's okay. 11:45, he was on beer number 6,
Wow.
which would have been okay, except that he went 1-7 for the day.
Yikes. So was the format the same where you got to play 5 doubles matches and 10 singles matches, or was it a little bit
No, no,
modified?
no. In this tournament, we had 4 singles games and 3 doubles games was a match. So you played one or the other for a match.
Oh, okay, got it.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so each match is a best of 7. The team that wins 4 or more wins the match. We had a um 4 game preliminary round.
Yeah.
There was since the Wolfpack folded, we couldn't do group play anymore. So he just did 4 Matt just reorganized it so that it was a 4 game preliminary round.
Yep.
And from there, 8 of the 11 made the playoffs, and it was a double elimination bracket.
Okay. And so each of those double elimination matches were that sort of best of 7 format with the 4 singles and 3 doubles games.
Yeah, yes.
And were you
Uh,
pitted as a singles player or a doubles player for your team?
I always played singles. We had, as the Wallaceburg Beavers, we had me, Tim Sanche, and Corey Ewart as our 3 of our singles,
Was
and
strong.
then we were we weren't sure what to do with the 4th because we didn't really have anybody else that could match up with a player. They were like, for example, when we played the Knights, I wasn't confident that anybody else on our team was going to be able to take down Dobbin.
Yeah.
So we would usually just have, so we'd sometimes try to put one of our weaker players against their best player, punt the match, and then try to win doubles.
Now,
And
is
there
there
were, I think there were,
how do you set up the matchups? Like, in hockey, the home team gets the last change. Like, was there some sort of like, did you have to just slate your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they put 1, 2, 3, 4, and then ones play ones, two plays twos?
that's exactly what it was, Chris. It was like Ryder Cup style.
Got
So
it.
as captain, I entered, I entered my singles players 1, 2, 3, 4, and my doubles teams 1, 2, 3,
Got
and the
it.
other captain did the same, and that's how it was matched up, like you said.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we were 4th. The Kitchener Knights were 3rd. The Niagara Ninjas were 2nd, and the Kitchener Venom took the 2nd game of the finals to beat the Niagara Ninjas for the SOCS Cup. Larcher hit a short drag airmail to seal the win in the decisive match there.
Good for him.
He hasn't been out much, but
Larcher, there's your Habs for you, buddy.
he hasn't been out much, but he delivered the key
Delivered
shot
the goods. Yeah, that's great.
when it counted.
Good
And
for him.
I took home player of the year for my 29-1 regular season.
Wow.
And then I also got a medal of sorts for the all SOCS team.
Was there some sort of prize payouts for that, or was that just like a
There
honor,
were well for that. No, you got a I got a
like a
met like
plaque or a
a
medal?
I got a plaque and a medal for the player of the year, and it's
Yeah,
got my name on it. It's a nice plaque.
nice.
Actually, it's just in the other room. I might as well just go grab it. I'll be back in like 3 seconds.
Sure. So it sounds like the Sox Cup would have had a financial payout as well. Um,
So there's
what was? Oh, you got it there. That's nice.
that's the plaque, and that's the medal that 10 of us got. The Southern Ontario Cornhole Series All Star.
Nice.
So there
That's
were
awesome.
eight males and 2 females got this ribbon. It was like an all SOCS team,
Yep.
and yeah, and then I got the player of the year, and there was a prize payout for the tournament itself. I believe first place took home $300 a person, so 3,000 for the team.
Oh,
Second, I want to say second was like 1,500 for the team, and
yep.
third was 700 for the team.
And does that all get dumped into your ACL accounts, or do you get like cash on the spot?
I think this was cash because SOCS is not an ACL tournament, even though it was run through the ACL software. It was when it was created, it wasn't created as
As an
affiliated with the
ACL.
ACL in any way.
Got it.
So I assume everybody who got paid just got cash.
Cool. So that was in Niagara at the convention center, and coming up at the end of March, we have the Canadian Open, and I'm excited to have that event back. It seems like there's going to be quite a few U.S. pros coming up to play in that event, and hopefully they bring people as well. Last I heard, it was maybe like 80% sold out, and that's just to people with platinum memberships. Gold membership registration opens, I think, in a week or so. So for the Canadian Open, I'm hoping to actually get into the teams event. I haven't been able to play teams last year, but I will be playing it this year. Chris Tremblay reached out, so I'll be playing with him, Russ, Rick, and then Tim and Shay. Hoping to get into doubles with Donnie McDougall, play some singles, and then the blind draw. What's your Canadian Open look like?
Well, I got the teams event myself. It's me, Bernie Portalesi, Glenn McNutt, Dave Dunlop, Connor Weiss, and Tim Sanchez.
You guys are going to be
And
a force.
I think we are. I'm going to be in swap, and I'm going to be in the. Actually, I don't know if there is a blind draw per se at this thing. I mean, there's going to be sit and goes, I imagine, but I don't
Yeah.
know if there's like an open blind draw. I didn't see one on the schedule.
Isn't that what the swap is called?
Well, I mean, that is sort of a blind draw. I mean, in the sense that you draw 4 different partners, and then if you qualify for the playoffs, you draw a partner based on your standing.
Oh, sorry. Swap
Um,
is the one where it changes every time, kind of like the league
yeah,
night. I thought that was a blind draw. My bad.
no, it is sort of a blind draw, but it's not like in a traditional blind draw where you get one partner for the tournament.
Right.
It is a little bit different than that. I'm playing in open doubles, and my partner is Eli Stevens, who's one of those American pros.
Yep.
He's from the Cleveland area, and I think we've got a good chance to do something.
Is
We
Cleveland the
played
one that
together in a pro.
you played Hisner, and you got like second or third or something like that back then?
That's right. I got third place in a regional in Cleveland last year. Both losses were to Adam Hisner.
Is Hisner
Yeah,
coming up for this? Do you know?
I don't know.
No.
I would assume he is. I mean, he's only 3.5 hours away. Cleveland is 3.5 hours from Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And I mean, he definitely knows a bunch of the Canadians. So
I've heard Jordan Power committed, Jimmy Humans committed. Somebody told me the guys are both coming up. Could you imagine a team that's like Matt Guy, Brett Guy, Jimmy Humans, Jordan Power, and a couple other pros that just like.
Oh, that would be a ridiculous team. But for the teams event, you're only permitted 2 pros / PDCs to a team.
Oh, okay. So for you, it's you're not considered a pro PDC, so you got Bernie and Connor as your pros.
That's
And
right.
then yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I would say me, Tim, McNutt, and Dunlop. That's four of the top non-pros
You're solid advanced
in
players for
Canada.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and for the American side, for example, Mike Ferreira made a post that he was looking for some non-pros. His team was so far Mike Ferreira, Samantha Finley, and Maddie McBride, and they were looking for three non-pros to round that team out.
It'd be nice to see Sam Finley. I met her last year at the Open.
Yeah, so I guess she's coming up again.
What about like Lori Duel in Buffalo?
But well, she lives in Florida. She grew up in the Buffalo area, but she's down in Florida now. I don't know if she's coming up or not. I would assume she is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, her parents are in upstate New York, right? So they're nearby, and I mean, it would be convenient for her to come up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know for sure.
Do you have any idea what the Saturday night showcase is going to be like? Have you heard about what's going to go on there?
The US Canada Pro exhibition.
Yeah.
I assume it would be a lot like last year's, where every Canadian PDC or pro that goes to this Open will be matched up with an American pro.
Right.
And then it would be like a single elimination type tournament, like what we had last year, the tournament where I was wearing other men's shirts.
Yeah, hopefully they have advance notice of the dress code for this one.
Well, it's not even, I didn't have a jersey. I mean, there's nothing I could have done. They didn't have my jersey ready because of whatever. But yeah, I mean, you'd think they would have had a spare jersey made up,
Something,
but
man.
It is, yeah, nothing could be changed now. But anyway, so I don't know the exact number of Canadians or Canadian pros or PDC. We ran them off earlier. What was that? 10 that we came out
Something
to?
like that. But they should be able to find 6 of them to be able to play in or even 8, whatever, to play in some sort of a bracket.
I don't know if it'll be 8 or if they'll just do all of them. I mean, if they all come.
Yeah.
But they'll have 10. I'm sure they'll have 10 American pros, and it would be a blind draw. How they decide which 10, I assume, since there will be no pro standings for this year, they'll use last year's standings. So it'll be like the top 10 pro singles players that are coming to this, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know that, but that makes the most sense to me as a way to do it.
And is it on TV? Are they throwing it on ESPN or just the ACL network?
I don't know that offhand. I'm going to assume it's ESPN 3.
Yeah, it'd be nice if TSN picked it up. Like, I think that would be really cool, but who knows how the TV works.
I don't know with TSN. They used to broadcast cornhole regularly, and they don't anymore. Even they didn't broadcast the Canadian Open at all. They didn't broadcast anything from the World Championships this year. They did broadcast the Air Guitar World Championship, which the Super Hole finals immediately preceded. I saw them broadcast that, and I watched a couple minutes of that air guitar just to see what the commentary was like, because it was terrible. The air guitar thing was terrible. So
I mean, still haven't watched it.
McGarriger was, you're not missing much, but McGarriger was having to like pass it off like it's a legitimate it's a serious like competition thing, and it was so there was some comedy value in him, kind of. But I mean, McGarriger is a serious commentator. Like he takes what he does seriously, and that's part of the reason he's so good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So now the highlight of the year last year at that broadcast, man, Steve Pohl made highlight reel shot when Jordan Power was trying to talk to Steve, and Steve had his headphones and he couldn't hear anything. I was sitting next to a guy who was wearing a Montreal Canadiens onesie because we had a challenge off to the side. All the crowd making signs, like Rick Wiersma have people supporting him. Everyone's got signs, these little cardboard things. Like, it was a great time. What was the highlight for you of the broadcast last year? Was it actually playing with the bar of soap himself, or what did you really enjoy? What do you take from the last year's broadcast other than the jerseys?
I don't know. That really kind of hampered the whole thing.
Really?
Honestly. I mean, definitely. I mean, when you're on a broadcast wearing another man's shirt, especially like Tim and Bernie are smaller than me, right? So I mean, wearing their shirts it's gonna be uncomfortable. Right. They're gonna be obviously a little bit tight, and it just really kind of happened. Plus, I had been on actual, like, I was on NBCSN, and that match against Ryan, right? Windsor.
Yeah,
that match against Ryan Windsor is something I'll always remember. I mean, there were some highlight reel rounds from that match. And then when he hit that airmail, it took three of his bags and one of mine, and the crowd went wild. And I just stood there and waited for them to stop cheering. And you can see I smile. I got a big smile on my face once as they were cheering, and then as they stop, I immediately the smile goes away. I lock in and I make the push to wash it out at 12 and stay in the game. And I mean that memory, nothing. Once you have that, like it would have been hard for anything from that broadcast to measure up to that. I mean,
I remember that shot. I've watched that video multiple times. That was that was a fun match to watch.
I mean, even if I never do anything on that level again, I've still done that. And that's frankly more than most people that play corn will ever get. So
I'm lucky to have had my Facebook moment with my Dr. Pepper and my Twizzlers last year. So I've got my broadcast moment myself. I don't know, it's something to remember. Now you mentioned tight shirts. I don't know if I can segue into Hulk Hogan, just sort of like, but we left.
Oh yeah, Hogan had that spandex, the way he always rips those shirts.
Yeah, we left Hulk Hogan's Tall Tails, 3 months ago, and I unfortunately left you with a cliffhanger, and you were like, we'll have part 3 of this, and then I never, was able to do a show for a while. But why don't you indulge us with the finale of Hulk Hogan's Tall Tales?
Well, Chris, there's a lot of these floating around the internet, like we said before. I mean, I'm trying to keep it to ones, and I'm sure there's some that people have just made up because they just blend in with the rest of them. So I try to keep this to ones that I've heard personally, that I know or from interviews, or that I've heard people that I trust, like Jim Cornette and Jason Solomon, say. So, okay, so he has an interesting take on the Montreal screw job. He was quoted in an interview as saying that Bret Hart was supposed to lose it to Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 16 or 17 or whatever it was, but Bret didn't want to. He tried to pull a fast one, and Shawn Michaels held Bret down and pinned him 1, 2, 3 because Bret was being a
Okay, Dean, your audio's back. Sorry. So we were just talking about Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and you said that they were quoted saying something. So start from there again.
So, okay, so, where did I? So yeah, Hogan claimed that Bret was supposed to lose at WrestleMania 16 or 17 when it was really Survivor Series 97, and that Bret tried to pull a fast one, so Shawn held him down and pinned him because Bret was being, quote, a horse's ass, when in reality, Shawn put Bret Hart into the sharpshooter, and Vince called for the bell because he had to get the belt off him. And apparently Jim Cornette actually is the one who suggested that finish in a private meeting. Not that he wanted it done, but I mean, Vince was like, how do we do this? And well, Vince McMahon deserves a lot of blame for that. To go to Bret while Bret's still the champion and say, I can't afford to pay you, you should go to WCW, and not have any plan to get the title off Bret other than this. And it was okay, except that when Bret said, went to Shawn Michaels and said, I got no problem putting you over, and Michaels said, I would not do the same for you, that set Bret Hart off, and Bret was just like, I don't want a job to this guy. And they had every opportunity to have him lose to someone else. He would have lost to Undertaker, he would have lost to Austin, he would have lost to Shamrock. But anyway, that's not, that take on the Montreal Screwjob is not accurate. Yeah. And also with the theme of Survivor Series, and I mean, since we were in November when we did this, I saved some of these for the Survivor Series theme, right? That's November. And at 1991 Survivor Series, Hogan claims that the Undertaker dropped him on his head onto the steel chair when he performed the Tombstone Piledriver. However, you can clearly see on replays that Undertaker keeps Hogan's head squarely in his legs, and it goes nowhere near the chair. Undertaker was all watch the replay. If you take into account the crossing of the international date line to wrestle in Japan, Hogan once wrestled 400 days in 1 year. And that is just not how that's just not how travel works. You know, you do gain a day when you come to Japan, but you lose the day when you come back. It doesn't. And also, he never wrestled in Japan enough in a year to make that possible anyway, even if it was possible. he sat on a plane to Japan next to Kerry Von Erich 3 days before Von Erich committed suicide.
Sir, I don't
Just
know who that
no,
is.
he didn't. Kerry Von Erich is a wrestler from the Texas area. He wrestled in the WWF as the Texas Tornado in the early 90s. He won the Intercontinental title.
Okay.
And he committed suicide in um, uh, like February of 93. Actually, I think we're 30 years very close to the day when he committed suicide. But he was in Dallas. Like his last match was 6 days before his death in Dallas, and there was a warrant out for his arrest. He was facing charges. He wasn't leaving to go to Japan. Um, Hogan faced Pride fighters in the 1970s, except that Pride as a MMA promotion did not start up till the 1990s. So even if he did he didn't wrestle those guys when they were children in 1978. Um,
Oh
I
dear.
mean, um, the New York Yankees and Cincinnati Reds scouted him, but a broken arm ended his dreams of being a Major League Baseball player. Neither team ever corroborated this claim. But Randy Savage was in the Cincinnati Reds minor league system.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know
Um,
that.
yeah, so Randy Savage's brother actually passed away a few days ago.
Oh, it's too bad.
Um, yeah, I know but
Was he ever a
yeah,
wrestler or no?
yes, he was. He was Leaping Lanny Poffo and the Genius from WWF. It's
Okay.
that gimmick actually got over because he was so snobbish and annoying that as a heel it kind of worked. Um, not as a main event type of wrestler, but as a
Sure.
guy who um, as a sort of a mid card act, it worked. Um, Hogan claims he was the first person in WWF to praise Kevin Owens and say, "Yeah, this guy's got something, brother." Except that everybody knew Kevin Owens from about a decade on the indie scene, and he was a guy that people were high on going into the WWF, and
And who is
he
Kevin
I don't
Owens? Is Kevin Owens fighting under Kevin Owens, or did he have a
yeah
different moniker?
he is fighting under Kevin Owens. His real name is Kevin Steen, but in the WWF he wrestles as Kevin Owens. He's
Got it.
actually been involved in one of the best storylines WWF's been doing in years. WWE, I guess, has been
Right.
doing in years. The whole Bloodline storyline.
Yeah.
So Roman Reigns beat Owens at the Royal Rumble, and then they beat him down and tied him up. And Roman Reigns wanted Sami Zayn to hit a defenseless Kevin Owens with a chair.
Yeah.
And Zayn instead hit Reigns with the chair, and the crowd went nuts. And I mean, this was set up, and it was just delivered as one of the just everything about it was great. And I mean, I encourage anybody who likes wrestling to go watch that. And I
Yeah.
think they're setting up for Owens and Zayn at WrestleMania to face the Usos, who are Roman Reigns' cousins and members of the Bloodline, for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
Okay. Hey, we're up against the clock here, Dean. Do you want to jump into the NFL,
Um,
or do you have anything
well, I
else you
mean,
want to share?
I think if we're gonna do the NFL properly, she might as well just start a new session. I don't think we do that in 8 minutes.
Okay.
Um, but I do want to wrap up. I'll wrap up Hogan's Tall Tales on this note.
Sure.
Hogan has claimed in interviews that in a match with Kevin Nash for the WCW World Title, he poked Kevin Nash in the chest with one finger. Nash dropped like he had been hit with a cannonball, and Hogan pinned him 1, 2, 3 for the title. Wait, no, sorry, that one actually happened. Yeah, that one happened in real life. That's what we know as the finger poke of doom.
Oh, Dean. Hey, listen, my Packers got to a Sunday night win and in scenario against my buddy Donnie's Lions, and the Packers unfortunately came up short. But one person that did not come up short was yourself, man. You were passing out survivor picks all year long, and you were a survivor. Congratulations. Tell me about your big survivor win.
Well, yep, I made it through the entire season in Survivor, the 18-week season, without a loss, and that's a really hard thing to do. I haven't been able to do that at any point
And how
before
many
this.
entries did you float for that?
I think I had 15 entries total, and when last we talked, I had 2 left,
Right. But did
and
you have any really, really close calls down the stretch in those last 8 weeks?
I had nothing but close calls the last 4 weeks. Frankly, I mean, week 15, I had Minnesota,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, they were down like 33-0. They against Indianapolis. They pretty much were doing everything they could in the first half to give that game away. And then they came back. They got it to overtime and they won.
Yeah.
Week 16, I had the Steelers, and they were down pretty much all game before they scored a touchdown in the last 2 minutes to win that one 13-10. Week 17, I had Atlanta against Arizona, and that was a back and forth game, and Atlanta won with a short field goal at the gun. And week 18, I had Jacksonville against Tennessee. And before that game, I had taken the Titans +7 for 6.5, and I bought up to 7. But in any case, I think it was 1,800 to win 1,200 that I put on the Titans because I knew I was going to get a good payout with the
The
Survivor.
Survivor. Yeah.
So I hedged on the Titans. They covered the spread, and Jacksonville was down much of the game and came back with a defensive touchdown to win 20-16.
They played then the following week in the wild card, and man, that wild card weekend was some of the most enjoyable football I had ever seen. The Jacksonville win over Tennessee was just that was something else. I was lying in bed watching the game, and I was just like I could not fall asleep. The game was just like I didn't want to sleep on Jacksonville. I know that they are a strong team, and they just came back and closed the job against Tennessee. Any big scores or good wins in the playoffs up to this point for yourself?
Um, no, not really. I don't, not in the NFL playoffs. I mean, I unfortunately was on the Chargers in that game where they melted down against the Jags. Um, but I mean, after the Minnesota comeback helped me win Survivor, I'll take that trade. But yeah, they were Chargers up 27-0, and just I can't believe that they just blew that game. I guess that's the Chargers doing Charger things.
Yeah.
They're known for their collapses. Um,
I had the
no, I mean,
Bengals about 15 weeks ago to win the Super Bowl. They were my pick, and they didn't start out very well, but then the Bengals went on a tear. And I thought to myself, as a $25 bet, do I cash out for a buck and a quarter, or do I let it ride for 500? And I let it ride, thinking, you know what, I love the Bengals. I think that they can come back. And unfortunately, they couldn't close the deal against the Chiefs. But man, I feel like Kansas City and Cincinnati, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. And the Bills, obviously, in
definitely.
the AFC.
Oh, definitely. You got those franchise quarterbacks that are young, that are
Yeah.
still they're probably not even in their prime yet. And
No, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes carrying the AFC. Like, good luck breaking through those three teams in the next, 5 years.
yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, the only way somebody, well, unless we get one of these guys in college that turns out to be a stud like that, and that's hard to get those. But I mean, barring something crazy like that, the only way anybody gets through them is injuries.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mahomes is a
So,
little bit banged up. Is he healthy for the Super Bowl? Is Mahomes at 100%? Do we know that?
I mean, I don't know that anybody's really at 100% this time of year, but
Fair.
as far as his ankle sprain goes, that's normally a 3-week injury, and it will have been 3 weeks since
Yeah.
he sustained the injury. So, it'll be close. Uh, he'll be something close to 100. I mean, he'll be something close to as healthy enough as far as his ankle goes to be able to have mobility in the pocket.
Yeah.
Definitely be a lot better off than he was against the Bengals.
I see you're wearing your two man ego trip shirt today, and I know that the other half of that team is definitely pulling for the Eagles. Who do you like in the Super Bowl, the Eagles or the Chiefs? Personally, I'm on the Eagles. I haven't placed any bets yet. I'm still holding out. I've been placing prop bets here and there, but a few minutes left here. Who do you got for the Super Bowl and why?
I I will take the Eagles there. I think I'm not overly confident in it because I don't like betting against Mahomes, but they just have such a good team. They've got so much. They're good everywhere. They've got the number 3 offense, the number 2 defense. They've got the best pass rush. They have a great offensive line. Hurts can run. He can throw.
They don't
I
they
mean, the
don't need to
Chiefs.
run the Philly special. They can just run it down your throat. They can
Yeah,
pass. They can do anything they want, like at will. It seems like I feel like taking the over is probably the right play in the game. I want to see a high scoring game. But I think for now I'm just sort of sticking with the Eagles myself.
Yeah, I don't know about the over. I mean, because Kansas City is the number 11 defense, and they've played well in the playoffs, and they, uh, there's no reason to necessarily think it'll be a shootout, but I would say both teams are in the 20s. Probably something like Philadelphia 27-21.
Yep.
And um and yeah, Philadelphia can do anything. Kansas City just doesn't have, they've got Kelsey and they depend on him for a lot. So, I mean, I could see him getting over that 7.5 receptions.
Yeah, you'll have Kelsey for like
Uh,
Kelsey needs to go like 10 catches, a buck 50, a couple touchdowns. I think if Kelsey is the MVP of the game, Kansas City has a great chance of winning.
yes, yeah, they do. And I mean, I think Jalen Hurt, but I would say Jalen Hurts plus 50 to be Super Bowl MVP is a pretty good play. And I think Hurts going over 47.5 rush yards is a good play because the Chiefs have the number 2 pass rush in the league. So there'll be a couple of times where he'll have to break the pocket and try to make something happen with his legs, and he's really good at that.
Yeah, we're under a minute here, Dean. I'm looking forward to Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to watch at my brother's place in Baden this year. Where are you going to watch the game?
I'm going to watch the game from my living room, I assume. I don't have any plans to watch it anywhere else.
Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed the big game this weekend. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday and tossing some bags with you down here in Kitchener. And it's good to get back in the saddle and do an episode with you. So thanks for giving me a shout and getting us back into this.
Yeah, definitely, Chris. It's been fun, and
All
I'll
right.
look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Perfect. Thanks, Dean. Take care.
All right. You
Bye.
too.